So let me ask you this. So you're the, I don't even know who the president of Washington is, but the general manager, I believe, has been there since Barry Trotz was let go, won the cup with the team, the whole thing. So they knew going into that season that was probably going to be Barry Trotz's last. There were Caps fans that season who were like, yeah, it's probably time for him to go.
Ryan McClellan.
So they go in and they win the cup. Okay. So Ted, if you're Ted, do you not say to Brian McClellan, listen, we should probably try to keep this together because as much as you guys maybe don't see eye to eye, something worked. And we've got a really good thing here. Okay.
No.
And he goes, and he somehow convinces you, no, we don't need to pay $4 million for a coach and keep him. When Brian McClellan comes to you now, having seen your performance since then, which has been, I mean, your starting goaltender who looked like an absolute stud, never the same again. The team's not looked really good. They've had their moments. The Caps have definitely had their moments. They still have insane firepower, still have insane talent. Signing Zdeno Chara was just cool. And, there's stuff that they do. You're like, man, this team has it. But they haven't really had it since Barry Trotz left. Even though they're making the playoffs, do you not say might be time for a change? Because that's bad talent evaluation.
Oh,
do you not think?
Everyone who was like, we don't need Trotz, like everyone who was on the wrong side of history there has got to go.
So, same argument, Toronto Maple Leafs. Lou Lamoriello. You're the board at MLSE. You represent Bell or Rogers or Larry Tannenbaum. Those are the three owners. And Brendan Shanahan and Kyle Dubas come to you and go, not Kyle. You just Brendan. It was time for Kyle Dubas to take over. Was it now? Because I haven't seen the performance.
So Kyle kind of forced the hand of Brendan when Colorado came to Dubas and was like, hey, we want to make you our general manager. And then Shanny says, no, don't go to Colorado. You're going to be GM here shortly. And then it happened.
Sure.
So who are we placing? I assume it'd be Shanahan, whose head would have to roll for choosing Dubas over Lou.
Well, what I'm suggesting, I'm not even suggesting it was the wrong choice. I think given where the Leafs wanted to go with their direction, Dubas was the right choice. However, if you're a board member of MLSE, you're a passive fan, and you are insanely rich, like all the board members are, and your friends who are also rich in like New York and LA and all that stuff are making fun of you because your team stinks or keeps losing like this. They don't stink. They just lose fantastically. 10 out of 10 loses. Do you not look at Brendan Shanahan and go, how can you tell me next season's going to be different? We let Lou Lamoriello go. We kicked him upstairs. We knew he wasn't going to stick around. Signs with the Islanders. He has 6 series wins, maybe. At least he has 5. How do you justify this? And how do you convince me? Forget the fans. Convince me that we're on the right track.
With a team, by the way, that even people who covered the Islanders were like, oh, they're about to finish last.
Yes. And they signed Leo Komarov to an outrageous deal. And they brought on Matt Martin for nothing, although he's effective again because he's with Cizikas and Clutterbuck, right?
And they didn't sign the guy that Toronto signed as their big free agent.
Tavares, who they wanted desperately.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to about face on Kyle Dubas after.
I'm not either. Just
after
so we're clear.
No. After saying that I wouldn't have done anything differently from the trade deadline. I mean, Hall instead of Foligno is the easy one. Ooh. I'll maintain that things go differently if Foligno was healthy, and it's unfair to criticize Foligno's performance because we'll just never know. No one ever asked for that situation, right? They should have got Hall. Well, they should have done a lot of things. They should have won game 5.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? That being said, Adam makes a hell of a point. And a big argument for Dubas's performance the first couple years, well, he's got to clean up Lou's mess. And he's got to get out from under Marleau. And he's got to get out from under Zaitsev. And he did those things. And he had a full season without either of those things. Now, what is the biggest problem facing the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I don't know.
Adam, Jesse, Take a stab. I know what it
They're
is.
They're very
Winning.
good.
Was that
Winning.
Certainly. Certainly.
That would be the result more
Specifically,
than the problem, though, right?
Yeah. What is the problem?
They can't win.
Again, the result, not necessarily the part of the it's the after. Can't win is after the equal sign. What plus what equals can't win?
X.
You run the Toronto Maple Leafs. What is the biggest obstacle in your way?
Cap, probably.
You have four guys.
crest.
You have four
The
guys.
name Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, but they changed that too.
They changed the crest. They did. They did.
You have four
you got
guys. Four guys making $40 million combined. Lou did not do that shit. Lou did not do that shit. Lou
There might have
had
been
nothing
one.
to do with that.
There might have been one, and it would have been Tavares had he stayed in Toronto. Like if Lou had signed Tavares,
It could have been two. It could have been Matthews and Tavares, and you understand both of them, no questions asked. You go, one is a truly special superstar in this league who is money in the bank 40 goals every year. And the other is a guy who's been a captain in the NHL and is probably money in the bank 30 goals every year.
and 50
You-
assists.
Yeah. It's a game about goals for and against. And you lock up two players who you can confidently depend on for 70 in a light year every year. Everyone understands that. Everyone. But then the other two, Willie, okay, he's got good value, whatever, fine. Now he does. I don't know. I think it's a lot of people going to bat for him because they feel obligated to. Is it good value or is it just what a $7 million player should
Or
do?
is it just value?
Right.
I think it's just
I
value.
think it's just value. I think the value in Willie's contract is that it's mostly paid already.
Yeah. And then Marner, like, you don't even need to argue that he's bad. It's just the cap is $81.5 million, and half of it is dedicated to four people. And
The
none
Islanders'
of that was Lou
highest paid player,
Lamoriello.
by the way, makes $7 million.
Sorry?
Just
The Islanders' highest paid player is Matthew Barzal, who makes $7 million.
$7 million.
And he's a what? What does he play? What position?
Center.
He's a center.
Centerman.
Interesting. Now, this is not to say that I tweeted at the time, I was like, God, I was so relieved that the Mitch Marner thing was over. Who cares? It's just $2 million, no big deal. I think it strikes deeper than that. And I think that going for every last penny can hurt you. Like Mitch Marner could have made that money up in endorsements. God knows he endorses literally. If it sells on a shelf, Mitch Marner is endorsing it right now in Toronto. Trust me. I saw a CIBC commercial. There's a real estate one when coming home, Mountain Dew, Red Bull, all this other shit. He's making enough money. But if you come back and you sell Torontonians on, I took a hometown discount because I am from here and I love it here. You're a hero forever. They've already got the statue made. But what has happened is, again, we look at the cap hit and we go, we're really hamstrung here. Now, I have to say, I would have laughed at you last year when people said, well, there's not a single player in the playoffs making over $10 million past a certain round. Now there's one, Carey Price. There's one. Now I understand that some of that's luck. Well, that's the playoffs. Luck is part of it. Not a single player over 10 million. We got 3. I mean, I like, we want to talk numbers. That's a number, is it not? Is that not, are we like, that's not really a fancy number, but it's a number.
it's an enormous problem. And again, it's somewhat unfair just because no one asked for the cap to stay flat, but it is now. And this is what I keep coming back to. It's a cold, factual conversation. This cannot maintain.
Mm-hmm.
This cannot maintain.
The highest paid player in the playoffs right now, by the way, is Nikita Kucherov at $9.5 million.
Player, like skater.
Skater,
Okay.
yes.
So this is, I think this comes down to, and again, this was supposed to be a conversation about the Islanders and how smart they were to grab Lou and Barry Trotz. And Lou was by far, like, I don't know what would have happened if Lou had stayed in Toronto. I certainly wasn't I wasn't like convinced. I mean, the Zaitsev deal was just an abomination. I'm sure Lou would have been able to get out from under it. He got out from under Dion Phaneuf as well.
How good did they think he was going to be? Like,
yeah, but you cannot argue with this. The Islanders, for the Capitals and Leafs, have been more successful than either franchise since those two people left. They left in the same year.
Yep.
And they have way less talent. Way less talent. Nobody's going to argue me on that.
Not an insult.
It's not. It's not. And you know, I have to give Islanders fans credit. I watch the games to see Islanders fans. They are so all the way ballistic for this boring ass team. And it evens out the fact that the game kind of sucks when they're winning. The Islander fan base is awesome. They're awesome.
They're great.
Like, there's so much. Now, you get on their bad side like we did a couple of years ago, and it kind of sucks. I'm not going to lie. That 6-month period was not fun after Tavares signed here.
No.
But, man, that's everything that you want hockey to be is what the Islanders fans are. And it's so spectacular that that's happening in New York. That's so spectacular that, you know, they're a good team going into an ESPN and a TNT deal. You need New York teams to be good. The Rangers should be better next year. Hopefully. We'll see what happens there. I mean, it's to me, if I am a board member of MLSE, as much as I like Kyle Dubas, as much as I love Brendan Shanahan, worship at the altar of Brendan Shanahan, and personally I do, I think he's spectacular. I have to ask that question. And I don't know if there's a good answer for that.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's a much bigger story than the ink that's been spilled over it. Not enough ink has been spilled over the fact that most of this league's highest paid stars are not in the playoffs right now.